Okay, so to solve the worksheet, to solve the lab questions, the first place where you have to do calculations is in the data table. And there we want to find out what's the mass of acetic acid in the vinegar. So you know you probably had 16, let's say, grams of acetic acid. And we want to know, this is our vinegar, and we want to know actually how many grams of baking soda was that. So we know that if we had 100 grams, that would be 5 grams of baking soda. I'm sorry, not baking soda, this is acetic acid. Acetic acid. So the 5% solution tells us if we have 100 grams, that's got 5 grams of acetic acid in it. So now you're just going to cross multiply and divide here. And for this case, we get 80 divided by 100. And so that's 8 grams. No, 8.8 grams. 0.8 grams in my 16 gram solution. And if I multiply this by 6, that gets me almost to 100. If I multiply this by 6, that gets me almost to 5. So you know that's correct. Okay, the next step that you need to do then, you're asked to calculate how many moles of baking soda did you have. So we know that when you calculate out the molar mass of baking soda, NaHCO3, you want to show your work looking at your periodic table how you come up with that molar mass. But it turns out that is 84 grams per 1 mole of baking soda. Now we know we had 1 gram, and we want to know how many moles was that. Cross multiply and divide, what you're going to get. 1 times 1 divided by 84. That's a pretty small number, about 0.01. You probably want to give me another decimal point on there. Give me one more digit, because that's too much rounding there. Give me at least 1 more, maybe 2 more digits in your final answer. So we did that, and that tells us the moles of baking soda. Now we want to know the moles of acetic acid. So back here, we said we've actually got 0.8 grams of acetic acid. So we know we have 0.8 grams of acetic acid, and we want to know how many moles is that. So again, we go back to the periodic table, and we know that 1 mole is, look this up on the periodic table, do your calculations, you should end up with about 84 grams per 1 mole. We want to know how many moles does 0.8 represent. Looks like what? That's about, if I divide it by 10, I get 8. If I divide it by 10 again, I get that. So this should be about 0.01 moles. Again, you want to give me the complete number, not round it off as much as I did there, so you need to do that piece of work. But we're going to get somewhere around 0.01 moles. And our final step then says, what's the ratio? Moles of baking soda per 1 mole of acetic acid. What do we know we had? In this case, we said we had about 0.01 moles of the acetic acid, and we also know the baking soda was about 0.01 as well. Is that the right number? 0.01, 0.01? Yeah, so I guess in this case, we're getting pretty close to a 1-to-1 ratio, right? You can cross multiply and divide. This is the number we want to know. 1 times 0.01 divided by 0.01 is going to give me 1 mole of baking soda for every 1 mole of acetic acid. So 1-to-1 ratio there for that one. You're going to calculate out each one of those. You've got 4 different trials. You need to calculate all 4. And that's about the rest of the calculations you need to do. Don't forget that you need to, where are we here? So you need to post your results on the link there and sharing your data. And then you need to look at the spreadsheet with school-wide data. And that's going to be your homework down here, is to answer some questions about school-wide data. You also want to answer these questions as well, looking at your data and answering them. Okay, that's about it.